In a world addicted to noise, urgency, and instant response, the nonchalant man is a rare force, often misunderstood yet undeniably powerful. His strength doesn't scream, it whispers. It's not that he feels less, but that he reveals less. He isn't cold, he's composed. While others rush to express every opinion, to validate every emotion, to be seen, he remains centered, anchored in something deeper than attention. His stillness disrupts the momentum of the frantic. His lack of visible need becomes his greatest leverage. It is not apathy that defines him, but an uncommon discipline. He watches, he listens, he judges, and in a world where everyone's soul is on display, his invisibility becomes a kind of dominance. Nonchalance is not emotional absence. It is emotional precision. It is the ability to feel intensely while showing nothing. It is strategic quiet, not passive silence. The nonchalant man doesn't react to everything because he knows not everything deserves a reaction. He does not fill the air with unnecessary words nor chase validation with performative effort. His economy of expression confuses those who live by impulse. He delays, pauses, observes, and in that pause, he gains clarity. Others play their hand quickly. He holds his close, not because he has nothing to reveal, but because he understands the advantage of being unreadable. What people cannot decipher, they cannot control. What they cannot predict, they cannot prepare for. And that uncertainty makes him dangerous. True power, he understands, comes not from seeking control, but from needing none. While others adjust their posture for applause or overshare in search of connection, he remains unmoved, not because he lacks depth, but because he knows depth is rarely rewarded in the superficial economy of constant visibility. He does not demand respect, he elicits it, not by loudness but by presence, not by persuasion but by alignment. He has nothing to prove because his life is not a performance, and this unnerves those around him, especially those who rely on the approval of others to justify their existence. This man's detachment is not disinterest, it is sovereignty. He does not perform strength, he embodies it. Like Machiavelli once wrote, "It is not enough to be strong, one must appear strong." But the nonchalant man takes it further. He makes others question their assumptions. His calm becomes a mirror in which the insecurity of others is reflected. They cannot tell what he wants, so they offer more. They cannot see his intent, so they become exposed. While they are reacting, chasing, justifying, he is choosing, always choosing. When he speaks, his words weigh more. When he acts, it means something. Because he is not constantly throwing energy at the world, his presence accumulates power. Most mistake this for arrogance. But arrogance needs witnesses. Nonchalance does not. Arrogance postures for effect. Nonchalance emerges from self-mastery. It is a result of long observation, quiet reflection, and the refusal to be ruled by internal chaos. The nonchalant man has trained his mind to let go of the irrelevant. He doesn't seek to dominate others, but he won't be dominated either. He has walked through the fire of his own impulses and come out tempered, no longer chasing what doesn't matter. And so his attention becomes rare, more valuable than praise, more addictive than charm. In every room there is a man who doesn't compete. He does not speak to win arguments. He does not engage to be liked. He does not bend for acceptance. He simply stands in the quiet certainty of someone who knows who he is. While others perform their worth, he carries his without effort. He commands attention by withholding it. His energy doesn't ask, it asserts. His silence doesn't imply ignorance, it declares independence. And because he no longer needs to be seen, he cannot be overlooked. That is the paradox of the nonchalant man. The more he withdraws, the more he is pursued. The less he reacts, the more others seek his reaction. The less he speaks, the more they hang on his words. Not because he plays games, but because people sense a rare thing in him, self-possession. In a world shaped by external noise, a man who moves from internal clarity becomes magnetic. He becomes a gravitational force not through effort, but through absence of need, of pretense, of insecurity. This is not about retreating from life. It is about engaging with life on your terms. It is about no longer performing for an audience that cannot grant you the respect you've already given yourself. When you master nonchalance, you master the art of composure in chaos, strength in stillness, depth without display. And in doing so, you stop living to be understood. You begin living to be true. Not everyone will understand that, but that's exactly the point. He doesn't spread himself thin, trying to be seen or heard in every moment. He waits. He reserves his presence for when it truly matters, and when he does appear, people take notice. There is wisdom in this restraint, an understanding that timing holds more weight than visibility. Like Machiavelli once warned, the illusion of virtue is often more powerful than virtue itself. Similarly, appearing indifferent can command more influence than genuine indifference. A man who feels nothing is not strong. He is disconnected, hollow. But the man who feels deeply and chooses what to express with precision and control, he is untouchable. He can face temptation, insult, chaos, and still choose stillness. That discipline is not weakness, it is strength in its purest form. You owe no one your emotional transparency. You are not obligated to display your wounds for the world's entertainment. True confidence is not found in loud defiance, but in selective expression, the power to decide what matters, when to speak and when to remain silent. Silence makes people uncomfortable, and in that discomfort they reveal themselves. They fumble, overshare, confess, or perform. Most people cannot bear not knowing what you're thinking. That unease gives you leverage, not because you manipulate, but because you do not indulge. This is not a game of withholding. It's about maintaining control over your emotional and psychological territory. When someone tries to provoke you and you stay composed, they lose their grip. When someone resists you and you don't chase, they begin to question themselves. Power is not seized by force. It is built through composure. The man who doesn't flinch has fought unseen battles. He has learned to distinguish between a reaction and a response. One is impulsive and cheap. The other is thoughtful and strategic. The nonchalant man responds, rarely, calmly, intentionally. He knows his worth, and therefore does not need to advertise it. His calm isn't a tactic, it's who he is. In a world addicted to attention, his stillness feels unnatural, magnetic, even unsettling. People remember not what he said, but how he made them feel. They are drawn to him, not because he seeks their attention, but because he doesn't. He is whole without applause, unshaken without validation. To misunderstand him is inevitable, and he is at peace with that. He doesn't rush to correct others' perceptions. He delays gratification, keeps his plans close, and lets curiosity build. That restraint is costly. It demands patience, emotional sovereignty, and a willingness to be overlooked without being diminished. Most people are ruled by emotion, acting out of impulse, but the nonchalant man holds his fire. He doesn't perform for approval, doesn't compete for attention. His gravity speaks louder than volume ever could. His silence isn't emptiness, it's pressure, it's weight, it's presence. And in the quiet, others find themselves off balance, intrigued, drawn in. This is the real power of nonchalance, not detachment, not coldness, but self-mastery. The nonchalant man is not passive, he is deliberate. He chooses where to invest energy and whom to grant access. Even in relationships, this restraint creates depth. He can love without losing himself, give without becoming dependent, connect without exposure. Emotional independence is not indifference, it is presence without performance. He does not give softness in exchange for acceptance. His peace is not a mask, it is a fortress, earned in silence, through pain, trial, and self-reflection. And once that peace is built, it is untouchable. He doesn't need to prove his strength by reacting to everything. Sometimes the boldest act is to walk away, to say nothing, to let others reach and pull while he stands grounded. The world will test that calm. People will insult, misunderstand, dismiss, or challenge you, hoping to trigger a response. But the real test isn't about fighting back. It's about walking through the noise untouched, focused, steady, and above all, silent. That's what makes a man unforgettable. Not the arguments he wins, but the peace he maintains. Not the praise he receives, but the balance he carries. Nonchalance is not accidental. It is earned. It is forged in restraint and designed with purpose. Power that does not demand attention is the kind that lasts. It moves subtly, confidently, without noise or announcement. It does not seek to be seen. It commands presence by existing fully and unwaveringly. That is the essence of the nonchalant man, not an absence of care but a disciplined awareness of what truly deserves his attention. He has mastered not just his behavior but his instincts. He doesn't flinch because he has trained himself not to. Even in high-pressure moments, his response is the same: calm, clear, deliberate. This consistency builds trust, even if unspoken. It creates control, not through dominance but through certainty. When others realize they cannot provoke you, they begin to adjust their behavior. You become a mirror, and in your stillness, they see their own chaos reflected. That contrast between your silence and their noise elevates you. It's not about feeling superior. It's about being sovereign. You do not perform. You do not chase. You do not explain. You choose when to engage, how to respond, and where to focus. That autonomy is what creates presence. That restraint is what makes it unforgettable. Machiavelli understood that fortune favors the bold. But boldness does not always roar. It doesn't always arrive with spectacle or volume. Sometimes, true boldness is quiet, subtle, even invisible to the untrained eye. It is found in refusal, in the strength to resist being baited into reaction, in the confidence to leave words unsaid, in the poise to stay above the noise when others try to pull you into chaos. Boldness is the decision to remain still while being tested, to maintain your center when the world around you demands that you unravel. The man who possesses that kind of restraint doesn't need to dominate through aggression. His presence alone carries weight. In a culture addicted to speed, stimulation, and constant validation, silence becomes more than a pause. It becomes a declaration of inner command. The nonchalant man doesn't rush to be understood, doesn't strive to be known, doesn't fight to be seen. He lets mystery do the work. He becomes a living question, one that others obsess over, attempt to decode, yet never fully grasp. He offers no easy answers, no predictable reactions. His unpredictability is power, and that is the final lesson. Be nonchalant, not to imitate strength but to embody it. Not because you wish to appear powerful, but because you already are, anchored in your values, unmoved by noise, unshaken by pressure, a force unto yourself. You don't seek applause, yet people feel your presence. You don't demand respect, yet it is given, because real power doesn't perform, it simply is.